The Added Time Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Added Time Podcast. Big one today. We're going to be starting the new season of football with our season predictions. And today it's the EFL Championship. We did some championship predictions back in, I think, May now, ahead of the June restart. We did pretty well. We predicted Cardiff in the top six and Charlton to go down. So we're going to be doing our own tables each. How it's going to go is we're going to do start from 24th up to 1st. We're going to do clusters of about 6 teams each for the championship. Just quick fire through them, other than the important ones like the relegation and playoff hopefuls, who we will go pretty in depth on. I'm joined as always by Harry Martin and James Ward, but it's going to be a quite long episode, so you'll hear them once we start our predictions. Let's get into it first. We're going to start with Harry from 24th to, I think, 19th. Can you give us the places?
Well, hello guys. I am staying alive today, and for 24th, I went for Wickham, but I just remembered that Sheffield have got the point deduction, so that will be Sheffield Wednesday in 24th for me. Then 23rd, I've got Wickham. Then 22nd, I've got Rotherham, and 21st, I've got Luton. So is that my bottom four? Is that what we were coming around with? And my thinking, if that is, Rotherham go up and down every year like a yo-yo. Luton were lucky to escape. Not very impressed with them, and I think Wickham are going to struggle. Like Akinfenwa in the Championship is a bit of a joke, so I can't see them doing very well, to be honest. So yeah, that's my predictions, and I think Wickham were quite lucky. I think Oxford are a much better team, and they would do a lot better. So yeah, that's my up to the 21st spot. And over to you, Tiers. What have you got?
Starting in 24th, I've got Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, I don't really think they're a great side either. They've got signed some good players. You look at Che Dunkley being someone who they could who'd be a good signing for them, but they've lost the likes of Stephen Fletcher and Morgan Fox, two of their top performers last season, and they've only got Jordan Rhodes as their only senior striker at the moment. So, I mean, when you got points deduction, it's just going to be hard to overcome. Also, one of the worst teams in 2020 with Gary Monk at the helm. It's going to be a tough season for them, and I can't see them getting enough points to avoid the drop. In 23rd, I've got Wycombe Wanderers. I'm sure they'll cause some shocks, but ultimately they haven't really strengthened enough for me to challenge. They got in Uche Ikpeazu from I think Hearts or something, but again, I'm not sure if he's championship quality. Expect Fred Onyedinma to be my player to watch for them this season. And finishing up the relegation spots, I've got Birmingham City. Aitor Karanka, their new manager at the helm, but he's had real problems at his previous two clubs with Middlesbrough. Obviously, I mean, he wasn't at some of the games before they got promoted because he fallen out with Steve Gibson, the chairman. And then at Nottingham Forest, again, with awful owners, he just really couldn't cut it. And now he's gone to Birmingham with probably some of the worst owners in the country in Dong. And I think he's really going to struggle. And for me, that is a recipe for disaster. And Birmingham are going to get relegated. And finishing my roundup, 21st, I've got Rotherham just escaping. I mean, they can't go down again after coming up, can they? They've got the same manager in Paul Warne, and they've got experience. They've made some good signings as well. Kieran Sadlier from Doncaster, Jamal Blackman, a good goalkeeper at this level on loan from Chelsea, and Angus MacDonald, of course, really good signing from Hull. So I expect them to just about stay up. Could we hear 24th to 21st from you, James?
Hi guys, I am here today. Starting off 24th, I'm not here to make friends. We're going to upset some people here. 24th, I've got Rotherham. They've been mentioned twice already, popular to be down there, as they always are. In 23rd, they've not improved anywhere. They've signed Dykes up front, QPR, shambles. They're going to be finishing 23rd and going down. Sheffield Wednesday, then in 22nd, with their 12-point deduction. I think they're going to make up some points against the shambolic QPR team and Rotherham team, and they're going to get up to 22nd, but they're going to be beaten by the mighty Barnsley. Done it on the last day, the season just gone. They're going to do it again. I think, final game of the season, they're gonna win 4-5-0 to get their goal difference up and overtake the terrible Wednesday team, after their 12-point deduction. But yeah, if you wanted to bet, guys, I'd go QPR to go down. I bet that's good odds.
Right, let's just get into our relegation cluster now, who are just going to be avoiding the drop. I'll start us off from 20th to 17th, I'll give you. Just avoiding relegation, I've got Reading. They've just sacked Mark Bowen, who's left the club, and so we don't actually know who their new manager is at this point, but they're always just avoiding the drop. Ovie Ajari, a good signing for them, but yeah, I can't see them starting off too well with a manager who's going to come in just the week before. In 19th, I've got QPR. Great side attacking, but defensively, they're just awful last season. You could see that. The loss of Eze is going to be hard. I think they just may have enough quality to avoid the drop, but expect them to be in amongst it. 18th, I've got a bit of a shock one. I've got Bristol City. Great team on paper, but an unproven manager, and they really slipped off towards the end of last season, and I can't see them like pulling up any trees this season, and expect them to be down near the bottom or certainly mid-table for me. 17th, probably my most controversial one. It's going to be Bournemouth from me. I mean, new manager Jason Tindall. It's like having Eddie Howe, but just a worse version of him, and I'm really not sure they're going to be getting on too well. There's quite a lot of uncertainty with the squad. Of course, if they could keep the likes of Callum Wilson, David Brooks, and Josh King, there's some good players. But, if we haven't learned our lesson from teams like Stoke coming down and just not hitting the ground running, then we should learn it now. And, I'm not expecting anything too big from Bournemouth. I think if they're expecting promotion, then just dampen your hopes a little bit, because I think just stabilising this season and maybe pushing for promotion in their future is the aim for them. Harry, 20th to 17th from you, please.
20th, I've got Barnsley, just narrowly avoiding relegation, as I think is going to be commonly agreed upon. They had quite a nice surge at the end of the season, ruining Brentford's chances. So, yeah. And then I've got 19th, I've got Huddersfield in 19th. Very disappointed with them. Sacked their manager very unfairly, I thought. So I've got them again in 19th. 18th, I've got Derby County. Not impressed with them, to be honest, at all. Not impressed. I think they're very undesirable, lacking attack, relying on Rooney, which is quite pathetic from them. Getting rid of Mason Bennett, which could have been a nice addition. Maybe not the most handsome, but he's definitely not one of the best players about. But he definitely could add. And then in I think that was 18th for Derby, so 17th I've got QPR, which I think it was around about the same for teams. Losing Eze, they're going to struggle. They do have quite a few nice attacking options, but yeah, I'm sticking with them in 17th. And I'm really wondering, as I guess you are as the viewer, what James Savage has got, because he loves a good opinion. He's quite smug after the Penguins, winning the vote off the other day. So he's been in good spirits. So I can't wait to hear what he's got from 20 to 17.
Well, if you guys are half as excited as Harry is about my predictions, you must be buzzing off the walls right now, guys. I've gone for 20th position, Middlesbrough. Shambles of a team at the moment. Don't even look remotely like a team that are going to be punching anywhere near top table this season. So I've gone for them in the 20th. I've actually gone for a string of 4Bs if you include Barnsley. I've gone Barnsley, Borough, Blackburn in 19th. Don't think they're very impressive. Done well to keep hold of half the players they have, but still not. They're not a desirable squad. Let's put it that way. And then just ahead of them, I've gone for Barnsley, completing the set of Bs there. Barnsley, who've actually got there twice, haven't I? That's really embarrassing, guys. Not sure who I had in 18th. You'll find out at the end. Anyway, 17th, we've got Luton. The Hatters, the mighty Hatters. Gutted we won't be able to go away there this season, with all this COVID nonsense that's going on. Hopefully, I can get there one season. That's why I'm hoping they stay up. Bristol City, that we had in 18th there. My bad. Confusion of the bees, Being a bees fan myself, that's quite easy. 17th Luton, though. There you go, guys. Rolling on to Tius, who's going to chuck us through from 16th to 13th, I believe. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, God, I'm really sorry if you had to listen to that. I mean, we'll put some timestamps in to skip through that. But let's go 16th to 13th. We've got Luton in 16th for me, with Nathan Jones at the helm from the start of the season. I think we're going to get the Luton side we all thought we were going to see towards the end of the season. He brought back into the fold some of their key players who weren't playing. Luke Berry, Elliot Lee. They really started performing for him at the end of the season after being shunned out of the club from Graham Jones, and made some good signings. I see they're looking at Tom Lockyer, who was great for Charlton last season. But yeah, I'm expecting big things from Luton with Nathan Jones. So yeah, got them in 16th. In 15th, I've got last year's League One champions Coventry City. Made some great signings, but it's going to be about where they can get their goals from for me because last season they never really blew away teams. There's a lot of 1-0 victories. Matt Godden, their top scorer, just over 10 goals. So it's going to be whether he can replicate that in the Championship. They have signed Tyler Walker, though, who I think is a good player, but unproven at this level. But I still expect Coventry to beat the drop and be safely cushioned in 15th. Huddersfield are a bit of an interesting one. Carlos Corberan as the manager. An unknown entity himself. It'll be interesting to see how they get on. Of course, they got a great squad, and with a 20-plus goal a season striker in Carlin Grant, he can seriously push them up the table. And in 13th, I've got Blackburn Rovers. Not much squad churn, to a bit of an aging squad. Yeah, I can't see them pushing too many playoff challenges this season. But yeah, I think safely in 13th for me. Harry, could you give us 16th to 13th?
Well, sorry about that little gap, guys. The mic just got stuck there. Very silly of me. So, in our 16th, I've got Coventry, and I just want to have a nice little story about Coventry. I've got some family friends up there, and I went there for an FA Cup game, and I'll never forget. I was about 12. They scored a goal, and the guy in the row behind me just picked me up and threw me in the air. It was really quite something, and that's just a fond memory I have of the sadly passed away Rico Arena. So then into 15, we've got Birmingham City. I think Tears has been quite a lot of blasphemy for having them quite low down the table. They've got a lot of quality. I quite enjoy Harley Dean. I do have a selfie with him, so I will be posting that on the Twitter. And in 14th, I've got Reading. I think Reading have got a lot of quality. I like George Puskas. Is that may have butchered the pronunciation as James is giggling at me? And is it Iorfa? Is he still with them? I may be stand corrected by the Championship prowess, but he's left. He's left. Sorry, guys. Ignore that. He was never there. What one am I thinking of? A job. Yeah, well, he's very good baller. Have I mixed up the names there? Well, anyway, guys, moving on. Then into 13th, I've got Stoke City. I think every season people think Stoke are finally going to fulfill their potential, and they just never seem to do it. I think they're stuck in mid-table side now in the Championship, and I can't see them doing much better than 13th again on this occasion. And I'm hoping I'm going to pass over to James after my calamitous 16th to 13th effort there, and hopefully he'll come a bit more professional than I have.
I've gone for some wild cards in here, but starting off with a plain Jane, Wickham. I think they'll do well to get this position, but I back them. I really like their manager, Gareth Ainsworth. He's such a good-looking man as well. A lot of ladies going to be looking on from the sidelines, thinking, "Wow, what a look that is." Then in 15th, we're going for Derby County. Don't rate them at all. They've got Louis Sibley, who looks fantastic. They've done really well to keep hold of him. But other than that, they look like an absolute shambles last season, even though Rooney managed to sort of carry them to where they ended up in the end. 14th, we're going for Birmingham City. Absolute terrible team recently. But, Birmingham fans on Twitter seem to think they're going to be winning the league of some sorts. They've just lost their best player. Quick note, guys, cannot believe Birmingham City have retired Jude Bellingham's number. What an absolute embarrassment that is from Dong, Big Dong himself. And then 13th, rounding off this section for me, and the bottom half, in fact, we've gone for Bournemouth. Like Tia said, if they can keep hold of the likes of Wilson and David Brooks, they'll be doing well. But I can't see it myself, and I think that they're gonna be crumbling. No Eddie Howe either. The man that saved them all those years ago, and in fact boosted them into the Premiership, now left them in the depths of despair. I think Bournemouth. They'll be lucky to finish in the top half this season. Hence why I've got them in 13th. Tias, hit us with 12th to 9th, please, sir.
Yep, so this is going to be the mid-table teams who are just going to be outside the playoffs. And starting off with 12th, I've had quite a lot of blasphemy for Barnsley this podcast. But actually, I thought they were a really good side last season. And the XG numbers showed it. And with Gerhard Struber as the manager, he really improved them and pulled off the great escape for them. Got some great players in from Austria. Callum Stiles really broke through in that restart, didn't he? And I wouldn't think it would be too wrong to say Barnsley could challenge the playoffs, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to put Barnsley slap bang in the middle in 12th. 11th, you've got the classic playoff misser-outers, Preston North End. They've managed to keep the same squad together, and potentially it's going to be the last year they're going to be able to keep it together, because you surely think that they're not going to be able to keep all these great players like Ben Davies, Alan Brown for too much longer. So maybe one last push at Premier League promotion for Preston. I've got them in 11th. 10th, controversial one maybe, I've got Watford. I mean, of course, they've got a great squad, yeah, but with their manager record, with what was his name, Ivan Cilic as the new manager, I mean, he's such an unknown coming into the Championship. What I can see for Watford is a really poor start, manager getting sacked, and then they kind of level out towards the end, show some good form ahead of the new season. But a lot of talk of Ismaila Sarr leaving, but if they kept him, of course, he'd be one of the best players in the Championship. Look at Andre Gray and Troy Deeney. Maybe a good chance for them to start banging some goals in this league. But for me, I think it may come a bit too early to start challenging for promotion this season for Watford. Certainly expect them to be a force to be reckoned with in the Championship in the future. But 10th place seems about right for me. And rounding this section off, I got Middlesbrough in 9th. One reason, you cannot write off Neil Warnock. I think a lot of people are getting a bit too over the hill with themselves with him and putting Middlesbrough up in the playoffs. But I think 9th would be a good season for Middlesbrough after last season's calamitous, I think it was 19th place finish. But yeah, they're still looking at some good signings. I think they brought in Grant Hall, who should shore up the defending at the back. And yeah, just the Warnock effect for me alone should surely get Middlesbrough up the table this season. Harry, hit us with 12th to 9th.
Well, I'm honoured to take back over the mic. And in 12th place, I've got mid-table regulars, Blackburn Rovers. Bradley Dack, what a player he is. I think he's coming back from a long-term injury, so I'm not sure how he's going to perform. But, yep, I've got them in 12th, and I don't think many people can argue with that. I've also got matched Tiers, and in 11th, I've got Preston. They are always there and thereabouts, and I think, keeping that team together has been good for them, but I don't think they'll be able to compete with some of the strength and depth of the sides up the top of the table, and they just never seem to be able to get it over the line. In 10th, I've got Middlesbrough, so one place down from where T has predicted. I really think Warnock will do a job. He's proven in this league, most recently taking Cardiff up to the Premier League, so I do believe in him. And yeah, that's why I've got them improving 9 places on last year. And in 9th, I've gone for Bristol City. I'm not too impressed with them, but I do think they've got a lot of quality in their squad to get them near enough the playoffs. But I do think they will miss out like they did last year, because I just don't think they've got that top quality that the top teams do up the top of the table. So yeah, I think 9th for them will be a good season and their standard finish. And over to James. I'm sure he's going to have some more controversial opinions to get you tweeting at us like crazy.
In 12th, guys, I've gone for Stoke. Boring old Stoke, Like Harry touched upon earlier, everyone seems to think, eventually they're going to finish top 6th. Sure, Tiers has got them there or thereabouts. But shambles Stoke they are recently. I don't see them finishing any higher than 12th, to be honest. They might even slip into the bottom half once again. 11th, same vein as Stoke, really. I've gone 12th to 9th, probably the most boring teams in the Championship, if I'm being honest. Reading, they're always just they're just there, aren't they? Reading, nothing special. Embarrassing team really. Like Harry said, they've got a couple of good players, George Puskas, um, and not Dominic Iorfa. Huddersfield, I've put in 10th. I mean, they're nowhere Mill Smith Rowe this season. Think that could be detrimental. He seemed to sort of keep them going, giving them a new lease of life last season. But no, he's gone. And yeah, they're going to be struggling. But I think 10th is generous, to be honest. But I can see them finishing above Reading and Stoke. They just all look terrible. And to complete the most boring set of 4 teams, guys, sorry to disappoint you. My monotonous voice probably highlighting how boring these teams are. In 9th, we finish with Preston. I think we've had them twice in this section already. Finishing it off with a full set. Preston, shambles of a team, really. Like Tia said, this probably be the last season with all these players, and they're going to be very disjointed from then on. I think it's game over in terms of Preston's chances of getting promotion. Terrible club, terrible fans.
Yep. Second to last, you'll be hearing from me. Let's go from 8th to 5th. So I have just missing out on the playoffs and the 2 teams who will creep in there. 8th, of course. Yeah, James touching it. I've got Stoke City. They've made some interesting signings this summer. You look at John Obi Mikel, Stephen Fletcher, Morgan Fox. They're aging players who are probably decent at this level, but aren't going to really make you anything special, are they? Michael O'Neill did do a really good job at Stoke, picking up the team, I think, winless at the bottom at the time. As you know, Nathan Jones did beat Fulham. But yeah, they were near the bottom, let's say it that way. It's the same with Stoke every season. They kind of end the season well, and then you think they're going to do well the next, and they just really don't show it. So I think 8th, just missing out in the playoffs, it would be a good step forward for Stoke for the future. Just missing out in the playoffs, I've got Derby County in 7th. I mean, some great young players: Louis Sibley, Morgan Whittaker, Max Bird, Max Lowe, Daniel Buchanan, all playing in this UEFA Youth Champions League team that beat Dortmund and got to, I think, the quarterfinals. They were all kind of introduced into the team last season, especially Bird and Sibley. And we had this at Brentford. I mean, De Silva kind of was in and around the team in the 18-19 season, and then he was brought into the team in 19-20. It was magnificent. I can see the same for Sibley and Birds now with a full season under their belt. Philip Cocu is definitely one of my favourite managers in this league. And if Wayne Rooney can get back in his deck chair sitting in central midfield and pinging the ball around, they could do well. The only problem I have with them is their strikers. I mean, I don't think Waghorn's going to bag you a load of goals. So be interesting to see how they get on. Of course, they've also got David Marshall in goal now, who should be a steadier set of hands than Keller Roos. But let's get into the playoffs now. In 6th, I have Nottingham Forest. I mean, this is a team I'm very unsure on, but they've had a good transfer window. Look at Luke Freeman and Lyle Taylor. Great transfers at this level. If you think about having Lyle Taylor and Lewis Grabban up front in the Championship, that is arguably one of the best 2 sets of strikers you could have. My big issue with them is Sabri Lamucci. You saw a lot of times last season he would just really not take seriously the bottom teams at all. He loved doing a classic FIFA career mode thing where he just change out the entire 11. And you saw that in home defeats against the likes of Charlton. So whether he's learnt his lesson will be the big telling for Nottingham Forest this season. But they've got good squad depth. So I think they should just creep into the playoffs this season. But it's all to see. And rounding off this, in 5th place, also in the playoffs, I've got Swansea City. Had a really, really impressive transfer window. You look at some great loan moves, Mark Guehi, Freddie Woodman, and probably the most interesting one, Morgan Gibbs-White. Was a Premier League regular with Wolves in the 18-19 season. Kind of fell off last season, but if you think he was Premier League quality a couple of seasons ago, and he's only 20 years old, could have a really, really good transfer on their hands there. They've also signed Jamal Lowe for just, I think, 800k. Absolute steal. My questions for them are, of course, Mike van der Horn was a rock at the back for them last season. He's out. And Ryan Brewster is also going to be hard to replace. He scored a lot of goals for them last season. So, I mean, I don't really know who their striker is anymore. I think Christoph Pedersen and Andre Ayew are their only options. So whether they can address that will be whether they can push up higher. But I think 5th is a good position for them this season. And over to Harry for 8th to 5th.
Well, guys, I am back on the mic, and I just want to touch on Buchanan. What a surname that is. Lovely. Really, really enjoy that surname. So in 8th, I've got Cardiff City. I really enjoy Cardiff City, and under Neil Harris, they are just really tough to play against. And Lee Tomlin, we saw his class come through, and I think he's extended his deal. I may be corrected on that, but I think he's extended his deal. I think he's a class player. I think they've got a lot of good players. They were just a very solid outfit, and under Neil Harris, that's what you get. And I think that they've got a bit more quality than what Harris had when he was at Millwall. So I think I've got them in 8th. In 7th, I've got Watford. Criminally underrated by these two. I think if they keep some of their players, there's no reason why they shouldn't be near enough the playoffs. Deeney, he's a proven Premier League striker at this point. Ismaili Sarr, Decore, Delafeu. If that is a ridiculous attack, and I think even I put them a bit lower than they should be, but I've gone for them in 7th only because in the anticipation that they will lose a lot of that them attacking players. I can't see Delafeu and Ismaili Sarr staying at the club, and I do think they have a weak defence. And also Ben Foster, great goalie. So Watford in 7th. In 6th, I've got Millwall. Lot of good signings. I know one of our mates, Ollie Devnam, is very, very happy with the signing of Troy Parrott. I'm not too sure. Made 2 10-minute sub appearances, so we'll see how he's doing. But I thought Millwall were very, very promising towards the end of the season. And if they start well, there's no reason why they can't break into the playoffs, because this is one of the strongest squads they've had in a while. In 5th, I've got Forest. As Tiers touched on, that strike force is just insane. I know they choked at the end. I think they just got a bit complacent, to be honest with you. They thought the impossible wouldn't happen, and it did. And that is just very tough for them. And then in 4th, I've got Brentford. Maybe a bit controversial. Yeah, I do have got them in 4th. But this is in the Oh, we're not going to 4th. We're not going to 4th. Oh, are we not going meant to be? Oh, well, guys, I'll actually tease you, but now you know I've got Brentford in 4th, and I'm sure these two will be absolutely fuming about that as Brentford fans. Over to James to give you his thoughts and opinions on these positions, and hopefully he won't make the mistake that I did of just giving you 4th.
Hi guys, back on the mic. I know you're all dying for it. We're back with some more controversial decisions here. In 8th, we've gone for Forest. They won a fantastic trophy last season, 6 points against Brentford. It's one that they've put right at the top of their trophy cabinet, along with all them European competition wins they've got, which they all wank about daily. We've then gone in 7th for the Welsh Giants, Cardiff City. You'll notice I haven't yet mentioned their rival Swansea. Little teaser for you guys: they are above Cardiff in this table. I don't think they're going to be able to get into the heights of where they got last season. I think Neil Harris, one of the ugliest managers of all time. I said Gareth Ainsworth was one of the best looking. Neil Harris, definitely the ugliest. He falls in that Mason Bennett bracket. So yeah, gone for Cardiff 7th. Not because Neil Harris is ugly, because I don't think they're that good. At 6th, now guys, my first real wild card here. A team that have made some fantastic signings. They may be newly promoted, but they've got the backing. Coventry City are going to finish 6th, guys. Former FA Cup champions in 1987. They've got the legacy. They may not have their own stadium, but they've got that spirit. Trust me. They've gone from League 2 to League 1 in what, a matter of four seasons, I believe, something like that. They've won at Wembley twice in that time. This team's got fighting spirit. Every season they seem to lose a few of their best players. A couple of seasons ago, Connor Chaplin went. They recently lost Sam McCallum. They replace these big boys every single season. They've got fantastic players like Dabo coming down at right back. Someone who Tiers has just absolutely tarnished the reputation of, Matty Godden. What a striker he is. Tiers always goes, he's League One quality. Watch him, mate. Watch him. He's like a young Peter Crouch. Trust me. And then we've gone for him 5th. It pains me to put them here, if I'm being honest, but you can't fault their signings and the way they finished the season last time out. We've gone for Millwall in 5th, the Lions. I think they're going to edge it over Coventry. And I think Millwall will finish in 5th this season. I definitely think they're going to get the playoffs. They look fantastic already. Pre-season's been brilliant for them. And like I said, they've made some fantastic signings in areas they needed sharpening up. Managed to keep hold of, according to our friend Ollie Debenham, the highly sought-after Jed Wallace, who's never been linked with anyone because he's that crap. But yeah, he's in there. They've done really, really well to fight off all them offers for him, haven't they? Anyway, they've lost the likes of Aidan O'Brien. I'm sure they'll all be gutted about because his team spirit was. That's going to be difficult to replace. But yeah, there you go. 4th place, Tiers. Start us off.
Yep, let's round off my table then with 4th to 1st. I've got Millwall the highest out of us, interestingly enough. I've got Millwall in 4th. I've got a real sneaky feeling that they could even challenge the top 2 this season. Of course, along with Cardiff, they were one of the best teams post-sacking their managers last season. They've made some great signings, getting in Troy Parrott. He could be one of the signings of the summer if he hits the ground running, and will leave a lot of sides going, why didn't we go for him? But of course, he's young and unproven, so it could go the other way. They've kept the squad together as well, which will be good to get the league started. Of course, it's going to be a big thing with the transfer window going on to October. If they can keep the squad, that's 1-0 up on everyone already. And of course, they got one of the best keepers in the league, if not the best, in Bartosz Bielkowski. So yeah, I've got Millwall 4th. Could be controversial. Could make me look rather silly at come the end of the season, but we'll leave that to see. Let's go with 3rd, Cardiff City. I've got them quite high, yeah, because again, like I said, once Neil Harris came in, he just improved them drastically, and they're one of the best sides in the league since he came in. One of their great signings I've seen this season is Kiefer Moore. I think he's the perfect Neil Harris striker, isn't he? And he was fantastic at Wigan last season. He could address their goals problem. I think that was the only thing they were lacking last season with Robert Glatzel not really coming in and getting the goals they needed. So with Kiefer Moore, I think they've really could push to win the league this season. They also showed they can beat the big teams last year. You saw their 2-0 win against Leeds. Could really go for it. Now, let's get into the top 2. If you're a keen-eye listener, you'll know I have Norwich and Brentford left. So as the runners-up, I have my own team, Brentford. I don't think we're going to win the league. I think 2nd could even be a bit too much. I think a top 6 finish would be good this season, but I think it's now or never really to go out with this team. You never know. But the squad is still in great condition, even if Watkins and Benrahma go. We've signed Ivan Toney, one of the best players in the EFL last season, and he can really step in and get the goals if he hits the ground running. We're also linked with Robin Hack, who, again, you don't know anything about, but did we know anything about the likes of Said Benrahma, Brian and Burmo? The list goes on. So I think if they think Hack's the man to replace Benrahma if he goes, then we got to put some trust in him. And even if these players don't come in, we've got a lot of players who can come in and step up. We look at the likes of Marcus Force and Halil Dervishoglu. I mean, they didn't really get a shoe in last season, but they could come in this season and really show what they're about. I'm also really excited to see Shandon Baptiste have a full season. He looks really promising in the midfield. But you just look at, we had the best attack in the league last season and the 2nd best defence. And as long as the squad is settled, then there's no reason why we can't go up. I think the only thing that's going to push us back this season is, again, having a poor start where we don't really know what our squad is. And we'll be playing catch-up from October onwards. So that's the only thing that I can see as a reason not to go up. But yeah, I've got Brentford in 2nd. Top of the league then, I always make the mistake of choosing a relegated team to win the league, and then they just don't do it. And I haven't learnt my lesson. I've got Norwich City, but you can't blame me because they've made some great signings. They haven't really lost anyone either. I mean, their attacking lineup of Pookie, Adam Ida, and Jordan Hugel, it just provides goals. I mean, that's a great three to have as their strikers. The defence looks great. I mean, when they won the championship last season, there was so many defensive issues, but now those defenders have gone up, played in the Premier League, and you look at Max Aarons linked to Bayern Munich, Godfrey linked everywhere, Jamal Lewis with Liverpool. If they stay, then that's a great defence now. And yeah, there's not too much else I need to say, Norwich. They've just got a great squad, and this one could come back to bite me if by the end of the transfer window a lot of these players leave. But I think they've got the history, they've got the players, and Norwich are my championship winners 2021. Harry, can you finish off your table, please?
Well, guys, the biggest shock in the episode is coming now. Who have I got in fourth? It's Brentford. You know, yes, they were probably the second best team stats-wise last season. My main problem with them is I think they could get caught in a position where for at least two of their famous BMW front three could leave at the end of the window with very little time to replace them. Although, which is a thing I see happening, Leicester being linked with Mbuemo, Ben Rama basically linked with every bottom half Premier League side, and even Arsenal and Chelsea, and Watkins the same. I think Villa apparently preparing a bid for both of them because it is rumoured that they do have at least 100 million to spend this summer. So that's my only reason I've got Brentford in fourth. A lot of quality in the side, but I do think they could get stung losing at least two of their BMW front three right at the end of the window with nowhere to place. In third, I've got Bournemouth. I just think it's ridiculous. I think people are forgetting that they were a very comfortable Premier League mid-table side under Eddie Howe, and they've got mainly the same team. They just had a bad season. If they keep Wilson and King, I think that is a ridiculous attack for the Championship. Brooks as well, and I think they're criminally underrated. You know, sod the manager. The players should know what they're doing. They just had a bad year. I think it got a bit toxic with Eddie Howe, and I think they've just got to move on from it now. And I think they are very underrated. In second, I've got Swansea City. I think people underrating them as well. A lot of amazing signings. I think James and Tirsa have appreciated that they will be around in that top six area. But I think this squad, without any additions, was incredible. They pushed Brentford to the last second in that semi-final, and I think they'll be their second place for me. And in first, I've got Norwich. I agree with Tiers. It's literally the same team that won the championship. Nothing's changed. It's the same team with at least 10 incredible signings to strengthen. I think Oliver Skipp's a steal on loan. Hugo, I think 1.6 or 2 million. That is a bargain, and just adds to the depth already. Pookie tore up this league with the same players, the same attack. They've got the same team that won the championship with more great signings. So if they keep this team together that they've got currently on the date of filming, I think you're an idiot if you don't think that they're the favourites to win the league. I'll go over to James and hopefully he has the same opinion. Otherwise, I've just called you an idiot.
I'm an idiot. Norwich sitting fourth for me this season. Granted, their team looks good. Granted, they've kept hold of most of the team. Good manager as well. But I think they're going to be finishing fourth this season. In third, I've gone for Tiers probably going to expect a kick under the table here. Gone for Brentford, Bottleford, as some people might call them after last season's shambles. I think they're going to be finishing outside of the top two. Can't see them finishing up there in the automatics. They just don't have that firepower anymore. In second, I've gone for Watford. If they can keep hold of all that attack, that glorious attack they've got, then I think they'll be challenging for the title. Ismail Assar probably going to be going, but even so, I think their team's good enough to be finishing in that top two. Then finally, the boys have touched upon it. I've got Swansea in first. Their team looks fantastic. I know they won't have Gallagher or Brewster this season, but they really pushed Brentford all the way in that semi-final last season, and I just think they've got the striking force. Although they have got the most ugly manager in the league, even uglier than Neil Harris, which is that's pretty impressive. Anyway, guys, Tiers is trying to snatch the mic off me, but he ends the episode week by week, slagging us off, saying how crap we are. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for your time today. Hope you enjoyed the episode. 45plus3.com. Smash it up. Yeah.
Well, guys, quickly, just so you can interact with us on this episode, I'm going to be putting out a poll, and you can pick between all three of the hosts and say which table you like the most. So we'll just get a bit of competition, and that'll be a bit of feedback in the episode after we've done these predictions. So, yeah, goodbye, guys. That was our championship prediction. Hopefully you stayed to the end. We love you all, and see you next episode.